So I'm assuming that everyone in here has a LinkedIn account, right? Some form of it. You maybe don't access it or don't do that much. So the goal today is to make it either really useful or just not annoying. And so you kind of reduce some of the messages that you get and make sure that you're not putting things out there that you don't want to be putting out there. Oh, you did change these slides, didn't you? Okay, that's nice. So this kind of gives a little outline of what we're going to go over. The privacy settings, group notifications, adjusting the volume of email you receive. You can kind of cut down on what you get depending on the groups you subscribe to, what people do, how to manage who's been looking at my profile, what you might want to consider, and setting your personal preferences, whether you want people to see your profile or whatnot. It just kind of depends on what works for you. Then we're going to spend a good chunk of time on endorsements and the ethical considerations, because those are a little tricky, but you can use them as long as they're truthful. And see, adding content to your LinkedIn account, I think that's going to be more of what Kevin's going to be talking about, because there's a lot you can do with it in sharing content. It's really, again, just up to you and how you want to use this. Let me, oh yeah, I can use this guy. So just kind of, again, starting from the beginning and setting up how you want to use this and what you want people to see, what you want people to see publicly, what you want to see if they're like your friend or your LinkedIn person. There's all that can be done within the settings. And so if you think about when you Google search somewhere, just want to check them out, you might see like a condensed version of their LinkedIn page, and you might see the full thing. These are just things that you can control. I mean, I think as lawyers, we want to be somewhat searchable and accessible. But again, it's up to you, and we'll kind of discuss how you tailor that. So everything can be done under settings, and the way you get there is by hovering on the little thumbnail in the corner. You can kind of see my tiny face up there. And there, you don't click it, it just drops down. You have a menu where you can go down and go into privacy and settings, and that's pretty much everything that you're going to want to do in there. So the first thing we're going to talk about is reducing email notifications, and that comes from people wanting to add you as a friend or a networking person, sending you actual messages, as someone who's viewed your profile. It can be a variety of things, and that's where LinkedIn can be kind of annoying if you're not going to be using it as a tool all the time. So once you get into settings, you can go to the communications area. You can see on the left there's a highlighted box. You can slide and you see all these options. You can see there's emails and notifications right on the top. So this is kind of a lot of words, but the email frequency page provides options for messages from other people, like I've talked about. If you subscribe to groups, you can turn those messages into digests. Like, it might be a little much for you to be getting emails every day in an active group where there's tons of messages and you're just not going to look at it. Sometimes it's easier to get a weekly digest or nothing at all. Again, it depends on your preference and how much you're going to use each group, or whatever you're going to subscribe to. So again, with being you wanting to be searchable, I would recommend you want to have people be able to send you invitations and messages. And you can also have your personal email address, or you can have your sell away, whatever email address you want on your profile page, and I'll show you where you can add that. So again, it's up to you if you just play in those settings going under the communications page.
You can also put the firm website
as
well, which I would encourage people to do to drive traffic.
And I don't think those slides, I can't remember if I believe I have those slides on this. And again, if I'm going too fast or you have questions, let me know. If you want me to show you how to do something or how to customize your profile, I can show you how to do that, because it gets a little tricky. It's not exactly intuitive. So once you're in the messages portal, you can choose what you want people to be sending you. So in mail, it's basically mail sent between people. Maybe you don't want that. I know I've had like people from my college will send me things about like, oh, I'm in Philadelphia too, can we talk about jobs? Like, I can't hire you, I don't know what you want. It would get a little cumbersome. So again, up to you. If you're searching for certain clients or wanting people to find you in this way, maybe it's something that you want to keep open and you can redirect them to different ways of contacting you. So again, all these options are right here.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Forgive me if I'm mixing this up with something, but does email require like a higher level membership? Because when I've searched people, there's a option to email, but it suggests that you have to have a higher level membership than a regular.
I think it limits you.
It depends.
Okay.
So if you take that top box and say introductions and email and you let it through,
Yeah.
then chances are it will allow someone on the outside to send you this email.
Gotcha. Okay.
However, if you hit introductions only, sometimes you encounter the paywall that says only if you have the premium level service can you then send an email, and essentially override your preference, and you wind up with the email. But it is always possible to send somebody essentially a message. If you do an introduction only, if I'm trying to get through to Ed,
Yeah.
and Ed doesn't take InMail, I can send him an invitation, and then invitation, if you change the default, I'd like to be your connection on LinkedIn to, hey Ed, I got a case for you, give me a call.
Gotcha.
The message will get through.
Okay.
Yeah. And so along those lines, everything here is based on the basic pro account. Nothing's premium. I don't have a premium
No.
account, so I don't think no one here necessarily needs it.
It wouldn't be worth anyone to get individually. It may be worth the firm to do it for additional analytics, but I don't think we've crossed that bridge yet.
Yeah, that's something that we can talk about down the road. I know my dad has premium, but again, I don't really know even if he knows what that means.
He probably doesn't write his number in his credit card.
Yeah.
I hope not. He runs a bank. I hope not. Okay. So this is kind of still building up the same theme about invitations, and this again, it's all under that same menu, and you can. So again, we kind of already discussed this a little bit about who can send you an invite, and that's just the invite only. It's usually a standard box. This is kind of like similar to Facebook settings. If anyone's doing that, you can choose if you want anyone to be able to find you or add you as a friend, or if you just want friends of friends, or you want to be totally private. This is the same deal. For LinkedIn, again, I don't think that we would want to necessarily limit people who might want to add you, but again, it's up to you on how you're personally going to be using this.
And
in whatever
two of those
way.
three settings are dangerous, by the way.
Yes.
And it bears noting that LinkedIn will get aggressive and continually ask you, can I access your contacts? Don't
No.
let it do that.
And just why? I mean, that,
Because
that's not the right
because
answer,
you
but
will be
that's-
responsible for your contacts getting spam.
Oh, okay.
Your contacts will then get email that says, Meg's on LinkedIn. Would you like to be on LinkedIn?
Oh,
And it
okay.
might just not be the professional addresses, but the personal addresses that you
Okay.
have in there too.
Right, and so personally, like I set mine up originally with Gmail, and again, I think I've been job searching since I was getting out of law school. So all those contacts are all in my Gmail account. So when if it gives me that option to add everyone into your Gmail account, it's already linked to my account, and it'll be all these people who I've emailed in the past, and like I don't want to send them stuff. I was like, remember that time that I had a terrible interview when I hated you and you hated me, and I'm just, yeah, right. I don't want you don't want to click that button. You don't want to spam them. So be very careful of that.
And it used to be it would usually just ask you that at the beginning when you were signing up. Now it's getting increasingly
Everywhere.
aggressive. It just pops up out of nowhere.
And it will
So the
say-
answer should be
No.
No.
Skip. It's going to be skip, and it's
Skip.
going to have a double confirm. It's like, do you really want to?
Mhm.
Yes, I really want to.
And
Yeah.
doesn't it also link it with your name? Because I've had friends who have somehow gotten linked to
Oh,
people
yeah.
in my contacts. I probably hit, I used
Yeah.
contacts when I first signed up, and it went to a bunch of people, and they said, do you know so-and-so? It was like linking my contacts to other contacts
Right.
with my name on it.
Because
So-
because LinkedIn is constantly, the algorithm in LinkedIn is constantly trying to figure out who you might know,
Right.
even if you don't think you know them. If Chris and I have a third person that we know but don't, just by random, Chris may know him from Amherst and I may know him from, the cigar place. It's always trying to make that contact. So it's always data mining, and you don't really want to help it. There's
Right.
plenty of other ways for LinkedIn to get information.
I mean, there's value to it, but just not when it's like searching like your grandmother's email address.
Or sending out email.
Right, exactly. So,
I just have two quick questions.
Sure.
sure.
One, all that you're saying here, so I can't do this though on my phone right
Right.
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't like the
now, right?
iPhone app.
Be able to.
The iPad app is a little bit better, and there are some screenshots down here. Those apps, I actually ended up taking off my phone. It's good if you're like stuck on a train or something. You're just kind of browsing, but you can't do a lot with the settings. It's just
All I'm
difficult.
getting is,
Yeah. If you're really going to be playing with settings and going into things, it's best to be doing it on a computer.
Okay.
personally. Or
And
the,
my other question is, when I get all these invitations to join the link, what is the practice? I'm just curious as to what the practice of, because I get people who I have no idea who they are.
Two things. We're going to talk about this in a second. One has to do with when you have other email address that someone else has data mined and you want to avoid giving LinkedIn that second email address. You really want to give it your solo email address and that's it. And we'll show you what, and sometimes by clicking those links, you're connecting that address to LinkedIn. You don't want to do that. The second piece of information is that your best practice is to avoid phishing scams, malware, all that other stuff that can look like a LinkedIn invitation. Let's say you get one, you say, oh, Chris wants to be my LinkedIn friend? Great. Don't hit that link. Go to LinkedIn and log in, and then go accept the link invitation that way. Because if it's in there, it's real, and if it's just an email, it might be a phishing scam.
But in my question, that's just a little different. It's I mean, these are legitimate people,
That's interesting.
but
Or they appear to be legitimate people.
well, I think they are pretty legitimate just because you look at them and they have links to other people who I may know. But I mean, it's like it's a plaintiff's counsel from Massachusetts or something, or or
A reason to
else,
friend them.
or an accountant somewhere.
Well, that's a different
And I'm not
question. The
sure
question is
how
whether you.
far.
The question is what you want your network to look like. There are some people who are trying to get into the 500 plus club and will do anything and connect with anybody. So that's one thing. It depends on how you want to build your network. But I'm really talking about when you get the email, go into your account to do it that way. Yes, sir?
But if you get a LinkedIn request from somebody you do know,
Yep.
and it comes in the fashion of an email,
Right.
as a practical matter, I've always thought in that situation, if I want to accept that, I can. I don't have to.
Okay. I mean, there's a sliding scale of security. If it's somebody you're pretty sure about, there's always some risk about clicking any email link. But if it looks legit, your risk is less than, if Chris is listening to this, than going into the safest way is to go into the browser or the app and to click it that way. But if you have confidence in it, use your prudence.
yeah, if it's
Sorry.
go ahead.
To your question, so all my invitations come through LinkedIn. I'm on it enough. I'll see the little flag icon and somebody sent me an invitation. I go to that and do I know who they are? Do I know where they're from? I may not recognize their name, but if they're from DHMC or the Federal Bar Association, I'm likely to take it. I'll even do a Google search on who they are and to find out. But ultimately, if there's no connection whatsoever, if they're a real estate agent, a job recruiter, that kind of thing, I just say no.
So let me ask one other thing about that. So you get a request, you can accept it. I can't remember what the words are, accept or not
Ignore.
ignore, something like that. So if you hit ignore, which I do a lot, does the person know that I'm hitting ignore?
No, they don't.
Only in this subtle way.
That they know that I'm not on their LinkedIn?
On the
page?
people that you may know, you may pop up on their people they may know, and they say, I thought I said at a request. And they'll say, well, I guess he didn't accept or he didn't act on it.
If you have someone who's really aggressive, like I've had to do this, I had some creepy looking CPA from Philly wanting to add me again and again. You can actually block them,
Yeah.
and when you block them, they don't know, they don't get that, you don't get listed on there who's viewed their profile. So it's a little sneaky. So if someone's like being super aggressive and it's some like professional expert going on and just wants business and you're just getting annoyed and you don't like them, you can block them that way. And that's all in the settings. So again, I've kind of talked about groups and companies and applications a little bit. Does everyone follow groups or they belong to something? You automatically belong to some if you put in your college or law school, and that will be right there already. You can join other groups, if maybe something related to the practice that you're doing, a cause that you care about. Like I belong to like a St. Lawrence alumni lawyers group, and that's actually how I found a few people up in like the Manchester area. And also like you can follow I follow like Dartmouth Hitchcock, I follow Concord Hospital, and you can kind of get their updates and follow them. But again, you can choose how much information you get from them. And again, this is still the same basic pane that we went into to go into the settings, and we're just kind of going down the different menu items. And also, so if you follow a bunch of groups or different things and it appears in your profile, if you are somewhat self-conscious about that or the order that they appear, you can also play with that. And again, it's just on this menu. Like for instance, I want more of my professional groups or things that I follow on the top. I don't want necessarily like Kappa Kappa Gamma and United States Equestrian Foundation like on the top. I'd rather it just look like I'm more of a legitimate person. So that's again up to you, and again like how you want to. Exactly, you can order it, you can slide it up, and again it's still under the settings. Research.
I'm old enough that stalking wasn't a good thing.
Still not. Yeah. So again, if you were just curious about where these analytics show up, one way it shows up is on a little sidebar, and it'll show you where you are and like where you're ranking. And also, you can do a pull-down menu at the top, and you can have a whole page where it shows your analytics of how many people have been looking at you and when and what dates.
And have they pumped that up recently? I seem to be getting many more notices like that. Like, you know, 43 people look
Yeah.
at you. I mean, I don't recall that being as frequent in the past.
Yes.
And that's again another.
They're probably set to anonymous. They're trying to entice
Right.
people to.
And you may
That's
be
probably
using,
true.
and you may be using it more than you were using it 6 months ago.
The stats of it.
I can show you. Oh, I forgot. It's over here. I can just log into mine. If I can spell this early in the morning. I tried to do a lot of screenshots, but sometimes it's just easy. It's because I can't see that far. Calm, is that correct? Okay.
Oh, your vision's pretty good.
Yeah, no, you can see that.
In one eye.
So
We know some eye doctors who need a referral.
I can barely see this. This is really
You're doing good.
So here's what I get. Scroll down.
Hey.
Hey, there you go.
Oh my god, this is a very annoying mouse. So if you scroll down, so it'll give you like suggestions where you can view or whatever. And if you go down, who's viewed me? I have no idea who that guy is, but there's my dad. Told you. And apparently Bob Best and some 3L from Villanova Law.
64 people.
Yeah, I'm pretty popular. So that's that. So again, this is all just
Like within
There.
a certain snapshot of time.
90 days.
yep. And again, like you can do different types of what industries they're in.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, where they work. It's just kind of interesting if you're paying attention.
It ends up making your profile look silly.
Yeah.
Does everything.
So, and I mean, I know the people that are sending the endorsements are trying to be nice. I mean, it's not like, because I know who's sending them. You know, Frank has endorsed you as, you know, so anyway. So is there something you can do about that?
There is. First, yes, you can have endorsements as long as they are truthful. And typically, if it's someone else who is endorsing you and you get the email,
Right.
or if you can accept it there, or go log into LinkedIn and go to your profile, and
Oh, I
you'll
can't,
have
I don't know my password.
okay.
It's on the back of your, it's on the back of your credit card.
So basically, you don't get endorsed unless you accept it. So like I know some paralegal from my old firm just endorsed me for appeal work. The only appeal I've ever done was yours, so no one should be endorsing me
Yeah,
for
wasn't that good?
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna lose. Like I don't want to accept that. So when I log back in, I wonder if I still have it pending actually.
So wait a minute.
So there's two parts to every
I don't
endorsement.
remember, so, was that the answer that I had to accept it? So I just.
Yes.
There's
You have
two
to
parts to
accept
everything. They endorse you, but then you have to take the affirmative step of accepting it. If you don't do anything, it just languishes. You may
Right.
see it, but it's not part of your profile.
Oh, that's what.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so that was
Yeah.
my concern.
That's what.
And
Right.
so I didn't
Yeah.
accept those.
Don't
you're
accept
fine.
it, so you're fine.
Go away.
I've never
And it
seen
will
an option to
here.
accept them.
Yeah, there's-
Here you go.
There is.
See, someone just endorsed me for appeals. Like, Beth, I love you, but I don't know really much about it, so I'm going to hit skip.
Or you could just leave it. If you leave it, it still isn't active.
But
Okay.
it seems easy.
So when you
Skip
scroll
clears
down
it
your
out.
Profile, there's a list, and it's got 88 people have endorsed you for research and writing, or
Mhm.
Where
something
do
like
you
that. Is
find
that
them though
public
after
or
they
not?
first pop up, Marielle? Because there have been a bunch that people have done for me too. Again, like you, Ed, where it's like it's really nice of you, but I don't do that, you know. And so will will that pop up?
Yes.
When they
Yes,
put in their
and it
profile?
might be like 6 little tiles, and you can
Okay.
kind of pick and choose which ones might.
All right.
be
'Cause
truthful.
I don't think I've ever seen that pop up where it says accept or skip.
And it will
It might be newer.
and it will most likely pop up just after somebody does that for you.
So how do you edit them if you accept ones that you don't want?
I mean, you can go in and you have like the list of your endorsements if you've already accepted it, and you can turn them
It's a
off.
right
You can,
click.
yeah,
Oh, it's a what?
It's a
it's a
right
right
click.
click. You can just take it off.
Yeah, I've had people from high school who I haven't seen in 29 years that
Yeah.
don't even know that I went to law school endorsing me for legal skills.
Yep.
I-
Oh.
Thanks, Ricky, but I get it. You're a great police
Why
chief.
do people do that? I mean,
And they're being nice, or they want you to endorse them.
Because
They
some
want
people
the
view
reciprocity.
LinkedIn as Facebook for adults.
Right.
Nice paralegal probably wasn't drunk on a Friday night. What people seem to go out of their way to do this kind of stuff. I just don't get it.
Right. And if you don't want it, then don't do it. You don't have to have the endorsements, and that's definitely a safe route. If people want to endorse me and it's truthful, I don't really care. So I'll let it happen. But again, it's up to you and how you want to. If you think it looks silly, then don't do it. Don't accept them. And that's fine. I don't think it really adds any credence or makes you look extra special. And that's pretty much it. The main thing with endorsements that's scary is, of course, that it's a communication and it's an attorney advertisement. So it kind of brings up the rules of ethics. And that has been kind of a recent thing. There's a whole bunch of articles you can read online if you're really interested about it. There is a pretty recent Bar News article from the New Hampshire Bar Association. If you want, I have it here. If you want to look at it, it's from 2013.
Yeah, it's in the ethics material.
Right. I mean,
Program we did.
you're
in June.
right, and basically what it comes down to is you're allowed to have these endorsements so long as they're truthful and you have.
How do you put that on?
Basically, you can clip it out and make it into a standalone post, and the more posts you make, it gets buried, but it's still there. You could point to it; it exists.
I think I have it under summary or something, but you can do whatever you want. Post if you want up there forever. Kind of the same thing. Like I know either you or Jay did that for Twitter. You tweeted it
I
once, and and now it's buried, but it was done.
And in that one, we just took a picture of it because there were more than 140 characters.
Now,
Thank you.
are we able to go on your profile, copy it, and dump it into ours?
Oh, yeah.
Will it allow us to do that?
Yeah.
Yep.
It will, okay.
Yep.
Borrow Mary Elle's language.
There you go. It's
But not her name.
Kevin O'Shea's one.
Yeah.
Okay, and so this might go into more detail than we particularly care about, but the reason why you have to be careful with LinkedIn is because you actually own your profile, like you own a Facebook profile or you own whatever thing that you might use. It's a little different from other websites that might just import information and you don't have the same control over that. And so that distinction is important to know why you need to be really mindful of these ethics decisions. And here is the main rule that's important and applies to this, Rule 7.4. And if you go down, this is talking about that.
What do you have to do to be an admiralty law and?
Right, you need an actual certification in that. So unless you don't.
Somebody's trying to mess with Ed.
Okay, I'll stop.
And again, this is repeating the same thing. Endorsements are okay if they're accurate, they don't create unreasonable expectations. The owner does not allow inaccurate endorsements when alerted to new endorsements. Like your buddy endorses you for admiralty and you're not certified. And you have the disclaimer. And again, so here's the same pop-up. And people might get, so I think we pulled this from Chris O'Donnell's profile. So sometimes you might see these little alerts when you're looking at someone's profile and they'll ask you to give these endorsements. It's LinkedIn, again, using their algorithm or whatever they have to provide you with these tags. And you can pick and choose or, again, just skip. And often you're just going to want to skip because unless you really know the person, there's no reason. Or it's accurate, yeah. I mean, if anyone wants to endorse me for legal writing, that'd be great, but again, this is what we already talked about with attorney advertising. And these blurbs are taken right from the article that I have right here, and if anyone's interested in reading it, if you can't read it right now, like I cannot, basically the takeaways are just that you need to be careful, you need to be mindful. If you're going to be using endorsements, they need to be accurate. If you're not going to be using your profile all the time, if you don't like endorsements, just don't use them, don't accept them, because it could eventually get you in trouble down the way. And here's a disclaimer. Again, this is basically what I just took off of Twitter or something, or maybe Kevin's.
And you want to replace your name throughout. It's really not about
Right. Right now, yeah. So I must have been Kevin's.
That's okay.
And you'll note down at the bottom, you need to put your name down there too. And you always have to have the address. And that is compliant with all the ethics opinions. Okay, so email addresses. This kind of comes up where I think some people might be using a personal address for their LinkedIn account, but then you also have your Sellaway account out there, and then you might get an invitation through Sellaway, and then maybe you click that thinking like, oh, I already have an account, but then you're setting up a second account, and there could be people out there that have like ghost accounts. I think there's a couple people here that have 2 or 3 accounts because they're not.
Kevin.
No, I don't.
Not Kevin.
I'm consolidated. Actually, the way it happens is, well, this is how it happens. They set up this person set up a LinkedIn account with their Sellaway email address. Then someone they know allowed access to their contacts, and they had a personal email address. They actually had several personal email addresses, and they got a "Would you like to join LinkedIn?" It had been some time since that person had accessed their original LinkedIn page. They clicked it, and instead of logging into the one they had, because they were using a link, it automatically populated with their personal email address, and they just created a new account, and then they did it again when somebody used a third email address that the person had. So what we're going to show you is, I believe you should limit the number of email addresses that LinkedIn has, but Mario's going to show you how to at least consolidate them.
Right, that's kind of my preference because I have one job, I have only doing one thing, I have one professional profile, that's all I want, so I want it all together. And you can choose what email address is going to be your primary address. And that can either be a personal Gmail account or whatever you use, or that could be Sellaway. I think I just switched mine to Sellaway, but I don't really like getting LinkedIn notifications on my work email, so I'll probably have to switch it back. So again, personal preferences, but at the end of the day, to limit issues like this, it might just be easier to get all your email addresses on one account. So if you go on your profile, this is a little tricky to see, but still in the gray box, like below like your profile and your titles, there's this little like contact info icon. And you can click that, and in there, that's basically going to be like a Rolodex, essentially, of what contact information that you want visible and what you want people to be looking at. So that's where, so right now I have my Gmail address there for whatever reason, but I might want to switch that to Sellaway because that's the way, if it's a professional thing, I want people contacting me that way. And this is also where you can put the company website, if you can see that down at the bottom, down this guy right here.
Is there a place of I see Twitter. Is Facebook up there too?
No.
They're mortal enemies. They don't really want one to do with it.
So if you want to put, you could do a link to the Twitter account for the firm there, if you want to drive people there. If you have a Twitter account that you're using in a more professional capacity, you could link that there too. I don't necessarily want to do that, but other people might want to do that. Like I know Jay's a very active Twitter user and has.
We can put the Sellaway Twitter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if you want to do your own, that's great. If you want to do the Sellaway one, that's probably better because at the end of the day, the goal is to be driving information and driving people to Sellaway.
So we really should, as a matter of course, have the Sellaway Twitter account as well as our website.
Mm-hmm.
Could you have Nancy circulate how do you act the Twitter account, whatever the link,
Mm-hmm.
however you get on it, so we can do that.
Isn't it on our email system?
Some people.
Some people.
If it's on your,
I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's on your email signature?
yeah, we were supposed to all change our.
Well, our
Twitter.
website is on our
The website.
The website has to be.
not
No.
Twitter.
Facebook is though, I think, isn't it?
It's an individual
It's your
It's
choice.
individual.
choice.
We don't
Some people
have-
just didn't want it on there,
Oh, okay.
but we
It was
made everyone put the
Well, the
website.
website should be on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Website absolutely should be there.
What's that?
It was an early idea. We all talked about it.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah, we did. But I didn't know about Twitter or Facebook, so.
We left that up to individuals because some people were uncomfortable having it on there.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have uniform signatures, so it's as long as it's professional and has the right phone number, I suppose that you're okay.
You love and kisses doesn't work?
You better be careful where you're sending that. Okay, so again, this is a little tricky to see, but that is on your profile page. And that's where people, how they contact you. And then we'll get into how LinkedIn contacts you. So again, if we're going back into settings, again, hovering on the thumbnail, going through the drop down menu, going to settings, then you're going to go to the bottom, and there's the account thing that's kind of highlighted there. You can see where the arrow is. It says add and change email addresses. So that's where you're going to go in and try to consolidate all your email addresses so that you're not getting multiple invites or you're not creating the danger of having these ghost accounts. And so again, so the primary address is up to you. You can do the Cellaway one if you want, and that's where you're going to be getting notifications. Again, I personally don't like that because I don't want LinkedIn emails throughout the day. I think it's distracting for me. If you are going to be using LinkedIn all the time and you're going to be using it as a tool, then you might want that. Regardless, you're just going to want as many. I personally think that you're going to want all your email addresses there if all you're going to be using LinkedIn for is Cellaway, which I think is pretty much everyone. So once you click in, these are the two little pages that you get, and you can choose. You can see you can add which address is going to be your primary or your secondary, and you can see at the top there's a box where you can add your email address, and this is just a little pop-up window that comes up, and then there's a blow up on the bottom that shows that you can click which one is going to be the primary. And you also, if you don't like having all your emails collected, you can also click remove right there. And that's that. Again, all under settings if I'm going too fast. And this is what Kevin already talked about, avoiding multiple accounts. I'm assuming everyone here is just working at Cellaway and you're going to have a Cellaway account. My old firm, some of the girls were like selling whatever face products separately, so they had a separate account. I don't think that's anyone here. If you want Avon products,
It's my
look them up.
dog grooming business.
Yeah. They're like selling Mary Kay or whatever. So they had like separate ones, but I'm assuming everyone is going to have one consolidated and make it easy. If you do have multiple accounts, which I don't know if it's anyone here that I saw when I was trying to figure out who these ghost accounts holders were. If you go in the help center, you can go down and there's really good links and information about how to delete these accounts. And it gives you instructions for each situation that you might have. If you can only sign into one account, if you can only sign into both, and what you want to do if there's like a duplicate account, and each one will give you instructions. So one thing, if you know the email address or your personal address, so you know that that's the one that you have your ghost account and you want to get in that one, you can log in and close your account by logging into, so go into the second account, go into settings again, go into your account, and at the bottom you can see where the red arrow is, you can close your account. So for instance, when we were trying to put together an account for Chris O'Donnell the other day, so we could record it for the 101 group, we kept having problems, and then we had multiple accounts for Chris O'Donnell, and this is how we were able to solve that issue. So if you're having problems with your account or you've got it separated, just close one and then choose the one that you're going to have your professional contacts going through.
Yeah, how do you know if you have multiple accounts? I mean, will they just pop up or?
Yeah, I would search your name.
Do they look totally different? I mean, are they gonna look?
Well, one
Depends on how much work you do.
exactly. One might be totally blank.
Yeah.
Like you might have yours, and
Yeah.
there could just be one that has like 0 contacts and no picture.
So just search within LinkedIn and it'll show you if you've multiple.
Yep. And so again, this is just if you do have the multiple accounts, going through how to get rid of the other ones. Worst case scenario, you're gonna have to contact LinkedIn and get rid of the other one if you can't get in. If anyone has problems with this or wants me to help, just let me know. So we kind of talked about this a little bit with Sarah. There's multiple ways you can access LinkedIn. The best way, the way that you can do the most and really personalize your account is through the website, and you can access that from anywhere that has just a web browser. You can add a mobile version for your phone. Again, I don't think it's all that great. You can slide through, you can see who's looked at you. I think it's cumbersome. If you want to just have it on your phone, if you're bored waiting for something, that's there. The iPad app is pretty great though. You can do a little bit more with it, and the search features are better. I think it's just a better interface. So again, if you're on an airplane, you want to stalk experts or do whatever, it's worth having your iPad, I think. I don't know if anyone's had any experience with that. So here's kind of just what it looks like on your phone, on page. Okay, this is Kevin.
Thanks, Marielle. I just want to do a couple of quick slides on ways to actually put content out there. And one of the ways that you can do it is there are applications or websites that allow you to post simultaneously on different applications. So let me just show you. So this is a product called Hootsuite simultaneously. Another thing you can do, there's an application, a website called SlideShare, and actually LinkedIn just bought SlideShare. So if you're doing a presentation, you go to SlideShare, you link SlideShare with your, and as you know, a lot more, a greater number of networking programs are now saying, don't create an independent login and have to worry about what your password is. Don't write your password on the back of your credit card. Use.
Did you read that someplace?
I heard about it. It says you can.
It's not my password, it's my PIN.
Okay, stand correct. But you can, with SlideShare, you can log in with your LinkedIn password. They're connected, and you can upload the PowerPoint deck that you used at a recent presentation, and it cross-posts that to LinkedIn. So then when people go to your LinkedIn page, they not only see that you have interesting things to say, they can see what you're up to, and it's a way that folks in the social media marketing game say is a good way to promote your skill set. You give a presentation to a room of 50 people, but now you've also broadcast that same information, your expertise, for lack of, or your skill set, for lack of your specialty, your area of practice, to the world, and at least to your LinkedIn set. So that's definitely a choice.
Yeah,
There's
so somebody at Wadley can take her slides and
That's-
adapt them for some show at
sure,
the hospital.
but here's the but right.
But in,
You seem like such an ethical person.
but actually, in fairness now, on our labor website, on all of the various websites, you're seeing emails all the time from somebody that says, I need to do a presentation next week on fill in the blank. Has anybody got a PowerPoint they can forward to me? And frankly, most people do it. I mean, it's,
Right.
you know.
But isn't it a disservice if Orthovis pays me $1,500 to create a PowerPoint and
Yeah, I think that's a judgment.
It may not be the solution for everything, but if you do a presentation to, you know,
Internally here on-
right, or New Hampshire Bar Association CLE, or you go and you give a presentation for which you're not paid, it's a way of maximizing that value.
Yeah, that may be the distinction.
Yeah.
If it's sort of tailored just for that client.
And-
you should stay with it.
And Marielle was talking about groups before. There are groups, you know, only have a very limited number of groups, a couple of alumni groups. DRI has a ton of great groups. In addition to their general website, they have a data management, which just changed over to security breach. The Bar Association has one. If you just go poking around in the search box, there's a group out there. And the more groups you join, the algorithm in the sky knows what you're interested in and makes suggestions.
And that's one of the problems that I belong to, like malpractice management groups, insurance coverage, you know, the things,
Yeah.
property taxes, things that I might be interested in. But I'm sort of overwhelmed by what to do with it. I mean, it's worse than Facebook. I know, I'd spend all day reading stuff and posting stuff, and as a result, I ignore it, which is probably not the right.
Well, that goes back to what Marielle said. If you turn that into a digest form and you get one email a day that you can scroll, that's a better use of your time.
I'm on the DRI, like Clinical Liability one, and they do a digest every day that's experts. So someone asks me for expert help, or offering expert help, and I read that every day and see if we can ideas for other experts.
And remember, you can also use digest in association with Outlook rules and put stuff into nested folders and read it twice a week. I'll circulate the slides, but here's a slide about how to find and join groups. What's that?
Kevin, I think you should come from office.
No, oh no.
Set us up. Bro, can we allocate that resource?
Now, Kevin spent enough time on LinkedIn.
And last but not least, and
Oh, yes, here's what we need to do. We need to pump this up so we can all read this.
so essentially, you know, these are all common sense things. I would suggest to you, they say, a lot of these tasks are daily, and I think that's malarkey. I think if you are taking the time to share a status update or respond to a message or check your notifications or just log into the product, if you're doing that, one of these things once a week, you're probably doing more than you're currently doing, and you'll continue to grow your network. A blog post. Again, from the content phase, there are enough things that you're forwarding to colleagues that you can simply turn that forwarding message, if it's not FYI, or maybe even an FYI, and cross-post that to your LinkedIn account, and you really are doing a good job of building your network. But there, again, it's the same thing. All these platforms are almost identical. And again, it also can be the case, and Twitter's the easier one, and you could take stuff from Twitter and put it onto LinkedIn, and take stuff from LinkedIn and put it on Twitter. Yeah.
Like if Rob posts something to Twitter.
Well, the problem with Twitter is because you're so limited in the characters. You get 140, and so whenever I'm posting information, it looks very different on Facebook than it does on Twitter, because Twitter's really abbreviated. And on Facebook, I'm allowed to expand a little bit and add photographs. There's almost never space for photographs.
Yeah, but if you have a link, like to an article, like if somebody wrote
sure.
an article, I mean, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
This kind of thing.
And that's another way we can build traffic. If Rob is putting out something on the Facebook page or Twitter or an article about it, take that and put it on your own page and pump it out to your own network.
I mean, that seems like
This is not rocket science. Thoughts, comments, observations, questions?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna wait.
You go ahead now.
I just had a question about Twitter, because I have never done Twitter.
Okay?
Are we gonna do a little intro to that too?
It won't be me.
Right now, Rob is sort
Rob,
of the
could you do
Twitter
an intro to
master,
Twitter
so.
if you want, or do you not want us to?
I mean-
Twitter post? I mean, I don't know how helpful it is if you say it's only under 40.
Well,
Twitter.
Twitter's really it's really easy. It's just you hit the tweet and you put a message and send it. So there's nothing to it. The question is that's your personal one. I at one point tried to open it up to more people so they could post on the Sellaway one, and there was some resistance to that. So right now I'm posting, and what I suggest is if there's something that you think should go on Twitter, just send it to me and I'll post it. Or I'll
I mean, I think
Tweet
at
it.
some point there'll probably be an expanded group of people that I think, and I think the executive committee agrees, that there should be some control over what is being tweeted out in the firm's name.
But if your question is like whether you should have a personal Twitter account to promote your own business, I would talk to Jay about that.
Yeah.
Like, he's super active.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a.
a unique characteristic though that's worth thinking about in this, because it's when you log into Twitter and you hit update, you see what's been posted in the last few minutes, and it sort of goes back chronologically. And if Solway posted something at 6 in the morning, I'm not going to scroll back when I log in at noon and find that. And
Right.
so things that you want to market kind of pick the right time. You do it at lunchtime, you do it after work, or you retweet. A lot of companies that I have followed
Yeah, retweet.
hit the same thing 4 or 5 times. Like they said it again and again because they're trying to make sure that they stay on the top of somebody's stream of consciousness, which is this flow of stuff. So it's not. I don't think it's as good as LinkedIn and some of these others for marketing purposes, because if I say something, the people who happen to be logged in for the next 15 or 20 minutes might see it, but after that, it's too far down on everybody's list of things. Nobody's going to
So
scroll that
timing
far.
of the tweet's important. That's important to know.
I'll share one way in which I found Twitter helpful. Not everyone, and I mean this sincerely. Not every. Rob and Ed are great at meeting people and networking. I'm not necessarily that person, but I went to a conference recently, and they said during the presentation, use this hashtag. And so as the thing was going on, people were commenting about the presentation using the hashtag. They were following it, and people who were, all the nerds that were hashtagging and live blogging met each other in the corner. And so I met more people than I would have met otherwise. So you can make it work for you.
I
Well,
think that there's
that's my broader question. What's the most, and each one of these platforms, whatever you call them, probably it has to be used in a different way, but recognizing that there's only so much time in the day, we have to practice
Yeah.
law, we have to do other things. What's the best use of something like LinkedIn to actually promote your own practice and promote the firm? Is it posting articles? Is it reaching out to other people? What's the best use of it for what we're trying to accomplish here?
Two things. One is the existence of the account. I think we're rapidly reaching the point in time where people expect everyone to have a LinkedIn account. So you might as well have one. And then when you see one that's kind of lame, it tells you something about the person and their commitment to it. Does it take a lot? I didn't cover. There's another application, and you can actually do it with Outlook, and Chris can help you. It does. By the way, rules and RSS feeds, it's one right click, and you can move all the feeds in there. So what I do at night, sitting on the couch, watching 47 channels and nothing on Comcast, is I have this, it's called Feedly, and Feedly shows me the articles from the blogs I watch every day, and I just clip them and post them, and clip them and post them, and it takes a half an hour.
From my point of view, I think that's very helpful. Whenever I'm meeting someone in industry meetings, Chamber of Commerce, BIA, I immediately go to LinkedIn and invite them to be my LinkedIn pal, whatever it is. And that way I create a network of people who are on my LinkedIn page, and I now have their LinkedIn account.
Unless you know a little bit about them. If you're going to a meeting and you know who's going to be
Yeah,
there,
and you
check
can
them on
you can post a
LinkedIn. I
message.
do that, but
You can post a message saying, "Hey, it was great meeting you at this conference. You know, if I can ever be of help, let me know." And then you can post it, you can link it, and now they're part of your network. So to me, it's networking.
I think that there's another bit of networking that's available through this stuff that's sort of works in reverse. Rather than people sort of looking at what I've posted or what I've said, when you go and you look at someone's LinkedIn profile, they know about it. When you retweet their article or repost their article, they know about it, and you're saying to them, "Hey, I'm interested in you. I've followed up on what you've said." And Dartmouth Hitchcock or Concord Hospital will know, Wentworth Douglas will know that we've reposted the tweet about their medical record or whatever the heck it is. And it's just a way of kind of reminding people, "Hey, you know, I'm interested in what you got going on, and you know, I'm out here."
That's very good.
Okay. Thoughts?
Okay.
Last up? Okay.
So
Thanks
you
very much.
Circulate,
I will send the slides out.
power slides
Yep.
so that we can,
And I'll
just in
read-
case we don't
and I'll retweet 'em.
recall everything.
No, you won't be